Hey everyone, I wanted to go live real quick. I just got out of the shower, got my shower. Listen to me, I'm so country. I went from Texas to West Virginia. So I have a mix of, just some really southern accents going on. And yes, I got my hot pink sweater on. Man, I love it actually. So I picked it up on clearance the other day, and well, anyway, I took a shower, and I do a lot of thinking in the shower. The same shower that I have done some really serious grieving in, I also get rejoicing in. So I talk to God and I pray and, I just started thinking about, there goes my cat. She's crazy. She wants to be in front of this. I never liked cats until she came along and then I loved her. Would you stop? Crazy cat. Um, anyway, I shared something earlier that said about, people in our lives. Just because somebody is in our life and we're born into their, let's say even a mom, a dad, or let's say a really close friend we met in kindergarten, we stayed friends with our whole life, we would expect that would go on in our entire life, right? That's not the way it is. And I don't actually have the verses because I wasn't going into like the studying of it right now. But it is in Ecclesiastes, and you can read it. It's called "There's a Time for Everything," and I've read it many, many times, and I've really meditated on it because I've had a hard time before realizing that maybe a friend that I was friends with for 20 years, 15 years, 30 years, 5 years, 7 years, maybe even a family member. Actually, my dad just up and disowned me. I'll tell you all about that someday more in detail. But it was unbelievable because we were always like this. We were always very, very close. And so it was just kind of crazy when that happened. And it was just, and then after that, it was like a couple friends a year. I'd lose some to death. I would lose some to just falling out. And I really would take it hard. And I would think, wow. And then God would always take me back to Ecclesiastes, where it tells us that there's a time for everything. There's a time to mourn. There's a time to be happy. There's a time to be sad. There's a time to be joyful. I mean, there's a time for everything. And we have to remember that. And once we remind ourselves of that and we believe that, we really stick in our head. Because anything we think about a lot, we're going to stick in our head, okay? That included anything. Again, stick that in your head and realize, that's my cat's tail at the bottom of the screen. Sorry, guys, but, it is what it is. This is our life, and I want this Life Lessons of Jody Rose page to help others, and I want it to be raw, and I want it to be transparent. Of course, I'm not going to tell you everything about my life because there's some things that doesn't need to be out there on the internet. But you can only imagine by the things that I say to you. And I lost friends, you guys. I lost friends. I lost a dad. And these people are still alive. And they went like nuts. But I have to remember what God tells me. There's a time for everything. There she goes again. Would you go on? And we have to learn to accept that. People go, well, how do you learn to accept that? And I think, like I said, you just tell yourself, you pray, you ask God. I did it for years. I asked God for years to finally let me accept the fact when a friend that I've had for many, many years and I thought was a best friend betrays me or I betray them or whatever it is. I'm not trying to be a victim. Just let it roll. Let it move on because that's what life is. And if you're going to believe the Bible, you have to believe everything about the Bible, right? And we can't read into it. We have to just take what God shows us. He gives us wisdom. It tells us in there in the Bible that He gives us wisdom. The more milk that we drink, the stronger, which the milk's the Word of God, the stronger that we become in our mental and the more that we understand and the more that God reveals to us. I'm telling y'all, I've lived it. So I hope that you and pray that you can learn to realize that not everybody's in our life to stay. People are there for a season. Some people were never meant to be there, but we forced them there. But make a lesson out of it. Make a lesson out of it. What did you learn from that season of your life? And try to make things better. Look at it and go, okay, that season wasn't so great, so I'm going to do this now. That friend I found out wasn't really a friend. I mean, maybe they were. Maybe they were a very good friend for the time that they were. But we change. Our personalities change. They do. I used to be the most, like social person you'd ever want to see. And now, I'll be honest with you, I'm happy right here in my home with my cat, behind my screen, telling you all my life lessons. Because if I had somebody maybe that would tell me some of the things that I want to share with you all, maybe I could have dodged some of that stuff. But I didn't, right? I didn't. And I took it as God gave it to me, I think. I took it because I asked God, show me your will for my life. And he has. And I'll share with you how I got to West Virginia from Texas. Share these videos because I believe that these videos could help other people. Because I learned. And I learned the hard way. I was one of them hard-headed women, hard-headed girls, hard-headed children. I was hard-headed. I had a baby at, 14. Well, I was 15 when I had him. So I raised him. I took care of him. Maybe not to the best but to the best of my ability, to the best of what I had to work with, to the best of what I was familiar with, which wasn't always the best. But I turned it around, and I taught myself how to take care of my other two children. The first two, they were kind of my guinea pigs. They were safe. They never, you know what I mean? But there was some stuff, and I will share those with you in different videos because I know that, people don't have time to stay on videos for too long. So I want to give it to you in little bits. But I want you to all know I've been there. And my life lessons, I promise, can help somebody out there. And that's my main goal, okay? All right, well, y'all keep your faith. Just always know not everybody's going to be in your life for your whole life, okay? So when it happens, you just got to pray. You got to go to that Word of God. And you have to take from it what God shows you, okay? All right, well, y'all have a great afternoon. And as always, peace out.